But we're going to jump into it. Wellspring, it is week 2 of our series, All You Want for Christmas. That's what we kicked off last week. We started looking at what I think is a pretty familiar part of the Christmas story, and a lot of things that we're familiar with when it comes to different aspects of the Christmas story. We're familiar with it probably because of Christmas carols or maybe Christmas cards more than the story itself. And that's what we dug into last week when we began to look at the Magi, the wise men, right? You probably have them in a nativity. I had to buy a new nativity set this Christmas, and when I did, I intentionally didn't include the wise men in the nativity. And you go, oh, why would you do that? Because they weren't there. That's not that part of the story. That's the manger and the little baby Jesus. The wise men weren't there until maybe a couple years afterwards. So if you have a nativity set up that is unbiblical, I think that you should switch it and correct your parents. Use this opportunity when you're around maybe your grandparents to say that their nativity scene is unbiblical and not correct. Don't do that. Just enjoy it, right? It's fun. We looked at the Magi, these wise men who come and visit Jesus after his birth. Remember, these Magi, they were astronomers. They were astrologers. They were stargazers. They were looking for signs in the sky. And what they did on a regular basis between multiple kingdoms and different cultures, they advised kings. They crowned kings. They were used to interpret dreams, and they were thought to have some kind of spiritual knowledge. At other places in the Hebrew Scriptures, a lot of times when we run into these guys, they often opposed the prophets. They were opposing different characters that we would call the good guys in the Hebrew Scriptures in the Old Testament. Pharaoh was advised by Magi when he resisted Moses. Nebuchadnezzar was advised by Magi, and they opposed the prophet Daniel. The Magi in Babylon were likely the ones that had a lot to do with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego getting thrown into the fiery furnace. We kind of sung about that a little bit this morning. The Magi instigated Daniel getting thrown into the lion's den. But in this story here, we see them coming with gifts to worship a promised newborn king. It's quite the shift from what we see these guys in the Old Testament and then suddenly here in the Gospel of Matthew. What happened? What was the big shift and change that happened to these guys? Daniel happened. Let this encourage you this morning. Daniel in captivity, right? The nation of Israel was drug away into captivity into Babylon, and Daniel is in captivity, not the ideal situation. He is not where he wanted to be. He's not doing what he wanted to be doing, but he was faithful to God, and he was elevated. We talked about this last week. He was the one that was able to interpret the dreams and was elevated to be over all the Magi. And it turns out the whole time, even though Daniel is not where he wants to be, Daniel is not doing what he wants to be doing, it turns out the entire time God was working in the most unexpected and unlikely way to announce to mankind the Christmas story throughout history. Emmanuel has come. God is with us. He uses the Magi to do that here in this story. And so you might not be in your ideal situation. Wherever you are in life, wherever you find yourself today, it might not be your ideal situation. It might not be where you wanted to be. You're not doing what you wanted to be doing. Let me encourage you, stay faithful. Do not give up. Don't you dare give up. God is working in the most unexpected and unlikely ways. You say, how do I know that? Because that's what he's always done. When I read the scriptures every single time, it is the unexpected and unlikely thing that God ends up doing. And that is what God does. He has not given up on you. This faith life that you and I are called to is not an easy one. I'm sorry if you've ever been lulled into believing that following Jesus is just going to be the easiest thing in the world. Being a Christian is the easiest thing you'll ever do in your whole life. It is not the easy thing to do. He never said it would be. On the contrary, like Jesus said that this would be hard, that it will test you and try you. But stay faithful. Do not give up. Keep going. That's what we see in Scripture. That God is doing the unexpected. He is doing the unusual to bring about something that we would never, ever expect. And he wants to do that in your life as well. So these magi, they come bearing gifts. By the way, bearing gifts, we said Christmas is only 18 days away. 18 days away, you're going to be ripping into presents under the tree. Do you know what that means? Fellas, new socks and underwear is on the way. Hold on, boys. Hold the line. It's on its way. We're gonna make it, right? It's only 18 days away. We're gonna make it. It's gonna be fine, right? I asked you last week, if you could have anything for Christmas, what would it be? If you got all you want for Christmas, what would it be? What would that look like? I wonder if you thought about that this week. Maybe you've been thinking about it anyway and suddenly dropping hints to your friends and family. I think how we answer that question says something about us, by the way. I think how you answer that question says something about us. You might have a list a mile long. It might only be a few things that you can think of, but I do think it says something because the gifts that Jesus received certainly said a lot. Last week we saw him receive gold like a king. Right? We saw Jesus receive gold, being declared king, and Jesus being king means peace for us. Because Jesus is king, you and I get the gift of peace when we accept Jesus. When we have Christ in our lives, we get peace. And now let's see what else he has in store for us today. If you have your Bibles, and I hope you do, turn back to Matthew chapter number 2. That's where we're going to be. We're going to read the same passage of Scripture we read last week and say, oh, no, the same one? Yeah, you probably need to hear it again, okay? Matthew chapter number 2 and verse number 1. It says, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea, during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem and asked, where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? Watch this. We saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him. When King Herod heard this, he was disturbed, and all Jerusalem with him. When he called together all the people's chief and the teachers of the law and asked them where the Messiah was to be born. In Bethlehem in Judea, they replied, for this is what the prophet has written. But you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, for out of you will come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel. Then Herod called the Magi secretly and found out from the exact time the star had appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, go and search carefully for the child. As soon as you find him, report to me, so that I too may go and worship him. After they had heard the king, they went on their way. Watch. And the star they had seen, when it rose, went ahead of them until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were overjoyed. On coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their country by another route. Now, there's 4 different references that we just read in that passage, 4 different references to a star, the star. What in the world is going on here, right? We've all probably seen like the pictures on the Christmas cards or maybe the Christmas movie, and there's a star in the sky. What in the world is happening here? What did they see? What did these magi see and follow? We actually know, spoiler alert, isn't this wild? We actually know exactly what they saw. There's a software, it's called Stellarium. It's an astronomical software that maps the stars in the sky, what we can see, their orbits, their rotations. It allows you to view the sky from any geographic point on the planet. It's really, really cool. And the coolest thing that it does is it lets you go forward in time to see what the stars in the sky are going to do, and lets you go backwards in time so you can see what the sky looked like at specific points in time. It is wild. AI is crazy. It's going to take over the world. You stand no chance, right? But this is a really cool thing that exists out there that you can look into. But let me introduce you to a star. We have a slide. It's called Regulus. Regulus. This one right down here. This bottom one right here. If you want to find it, look at the Big Dipper, and you can go down to this little star here. It's called Regulus. That's the name that we have for it, that we call it. It's a star system, actually. It's not one star. It's actually a star system. 3 stars huddled together in one. I know I've never heard that in the Bible at all before, but it's 3 stars huddled together in one, 79 light years away from us right now. And the name Regulus means little king. It's the name of the star. That's what it means, little king. It's called Sharu by the Babylonians. It's called Rex by the Romans, both of which mean the king star. That's what this star Regulus is. It's a royal star. To these astronomers who are looking in the sky night after night, what they see is this star Regulus, this royal star, the Magi. Regulus by itself, this star by itself, even right now, you can look in the night sky, and it's a pretty bright star. Like, it's bright. It's not the brightest star in the world. If you look out at the sky tonight, if it's not cloudy and rainy, like it's probably going to be, so don't bother looking tonight. But if you go and look and you do see it, it's going to be bright, but it's not going to be the brightest thing. It's not going to catch your attention in any significant way. It's by far not the most. So is this what it was? Is this what they saw? Just this star Regulus? Is that all it is? No. What else was going on during this time is Jupiter, the planet Jupiter. Jupiter, by the way, means supreme God, which is in line with Regulus. This is what happened during 3 BC and 2 BC. That's when Jesus was born. I know it's confusing because aren't you like, well, isn't he born on 0 BC? Actually, no. It's like, well, why is that date different? Just because like we like to argue and fight about dates all the time, and we've always wanted to do that. So, I just broke this. So that's what was going on at the time. So Jupiter, whose name is Supreme God, it was in line with Regulus at the time, making it appear as if it's the brightest thing in the night sky. It's called a conjunction when a planet and a star line up together. So there's this conjunction that happens, and when that goes on, Jupiter and Regulus, that is the brightest thing that you see in the night sky. But in 3 BC and 2 BC, when Christ was born, it didn't just happen one time. There wasn't just this one conjunction that happened. It actually happened 3 different times, an extremely rare, once-in-a-lifetime event. It's called a triple conjunction, when Jupiter goes behind Regulus, not once, not twice, but 3 different times, making it appear as if Jupiter is, they call it crowning, that Jupiter is crowning Regulus, which is pretty cool if you think about the supreme God is crowning this little king star. That's what these magi are looking at and seeing in the sky. And again, it makes it the brightest thing in the night sky. So these magi, these astronomers who study the stars, see this event in the sky and say, this means something. Like, this has significant meaning. And they make their way to Bethlehem in Judah. By the way, all this is happening in the night sky, and it happens in the heart of a certain constellation. It happens in the heart of this constellation called Leo, right? And so now, if you know anything about Jewish history, Judah has a symbol, and the symbol for Judah is a lion. And so you see all of this happening in the sky, in the heart of the lion. Jesus, by the way, is called the Lion of Judah. Now, you can look at all that and go, wow, that is amazing. What a wild coincidence that would happen. That's a crazy chance, right? And you could say, that's all like, I could do that with numbers or whatever. Somebody says that. I don't know if you can do that with numbers. But you can look at all this and go, yeah, this is just some sort of crazy chance. Or Psalm 19, verse 1 says, the heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. Day after day, they pour forth speech. Night after night, they reveal knowledge. They have no speech. They use no words. No sound is heard from them. yet their voice goes out into all the earth, their words to the ends of the world. You have these magi. What they do is they look up into the sky at night and they see the supreme God and the little king in the heart of the Lion of Judah, finding their way to Bethlehem. That's an amazing thing. You go, wow, that's amazing. God is in control. This is a cool thing that happens. It's not chance. And these magi bring gifts of gold, and then they bring gifts of frankincense. Now, if you're like me, I hear this word every Christmas, and what I think is, what the heck is frankincense? Like, I don't know what frankincense is. Frankincense is what I call the way middle school boys smell when they mix Axe body spray and cologne and sweat and bad breath all together in one. It's just a frankincense of smells, right? That's what I think. That's not it. That's not what frankincense is. Frankincense is actually the key ingredient in the incense that was burned first in the tabernacle and then at the temple, what we read about in the Hebrew Scriptures, as a symbol of prayer to God, prayers going up to God. That's what frankincense was used for. It was a main ingredient for the incense that was burned in the tabernacle, in the temple, that went up as prayers to God. That's what it symbolized. And worship in the tabernacle and worship in the temple, when you read about it, like I know when we read in the Old Testament, there's like lots of rules and there's lots of laws. A lot of those laws and a lot of those rules had to do with how God was to be worshipped. So there was always purpose. There was always intention. And a lot of times really, really beautiful meaning behind how God wanted to be worshipped and how God set these things up, this incense to be burned every night, all day and all night, to symbolize prayer going up to him. None of it was by accident. And when I look at all the different aspects that comes along with Old Testament worship in the tabernacle and in the temple, my favorite detail about the incense that was burned all day and all night to symbolize prayer to God was that frankincense smelled good. Smelled good. It was sweet. Don't miss the symbolism that God is trying to communicate when it comes to prayers risen up to him, how he thinks about them. Here's just an honest moment. There are a lot of times that I don't pray, like confession time. There's a lot of times that I don't pray because I feel like maybe I don't have the time to do it. I have one reason or another. Maybe I'm too busy to pray. Maybe I just don't feel like praying. Maybe I feel like my concerns, like my thoughts, what's going on in my heart and what's going on in my mind is just really irrelevant. Like it's not important enough for me to bring to God. Like what's going on in my life, what's going on in my heart, what's going on in my mind is probably my fault anyway, and it's not really something that I feel like bringing up to God, so I'm just not going to do it. Maybe other times I don't pray because I feel ashamed. I feel ashamed because my heart wants to wander. And so I don't want to go and talk to God. I don't want to pray to him because I feel ashamed, so I don't. And when that's going on, when I'm not praying because I feel like it's not important, because I feel like it's not significant, because I feel like it's my fault, because I feel like I'm ashamed, that's when I need to be reminded about this, that it smells good, that it smells sweet. Like that's how God views your prayers that go up to him, that it's not a bother, that he's not disgusted by you. That's how I feel a lot of times. I don't want to go and pray and confess this wrong thing that I did or the sin that's going on or that I'm just angry or I'm jealous. I don't want to go talk to that because that's ugly. God says the exact opposite. God says, no, that smells good. Like I want that. I enjoy that. Like the incense from the altar, your prayers to God smell good. And they give Jesus frankincense. They give Jesus frankincense. That's a gift that you give to God. But what did the scripture say? Like, we shouldn't be shocked by this because we just read in Matthew chapter number 2 is that they say they saw the star when it rose and they came just to worship him. just to declare that Jesus is worthy of worship, to declare that he's not just a baby, he's a king, and that he's not just a king, but this baby is God. Like he's worthy of being worshiped. That's the gift that we're going to bring to him. He formed the stars in the sky to shout through time and history for me and for you that Jesus being God is hope for us. Jesus being king is peace for us, and Jesus being God is hope for you and for me. I don't know what all you want for Christmas. I don't know what your list looks like. But I have a feeling, if you're anything like me at all you really want for Christmas, like all my heart is longing for, is a king to bring me peace. Like my heart is longing for a God who gives me hope, something to look forward to, something to hold on to. Like here's a shocking news to you. Most people are stressed. Most people are stressed. Most people are sad. Most people are depressed. Most people are tired. They're anxious. They're heavy. And this time of year magnifies that for so many of us. Feeling stressed or sad or depressed or just tired and worn out. I can't tell you how many times I've told people or it's been told to me, I need a vacation, man. Like this time of year just feels heavy a lot of times for all of us. And you're not super spiritual if you're like, no, I feel great. That's not a super spiritual thing. Like that's the reality. We feel that way. So can I give you some hope this morning? The God who shaped the universe, everything, the stars in the sky, sees you, and he isn't angry with you. He isn't disgusted with you. He knows that you're stressed. He knows that you're sad. He knows if you're depressed or that you're tired or that you're anxious or that just everything feels heavy. And he came into the world to give you life, to set you free from all that, to show you that there's peace that you can have in the midst of all those things, that there's hope that you can have in the midst of all of those things. And he promised to never, ever leave you or forsake you, period. That's what we see when we look at this story. And it might be set up on your mantle, and it might be just something that you pull out every year, or part of a song, or on a Christmas card that you think about. But what it declares is that Jesus is King, and that gives me peace. It declares that Jesus is God, and that gives me hope. And when it comes to me feeling stressed, or heavy, or anxious, or tired, or depressed, here's the wild thing about all that. He wants to hear my voice. He wants to hear me talk to him about it because it smells good to him, because he likes it. You say, why does God want me to pray? Like, why does God want you to pray? Why, when we read in the scriptures, does it say to pray? Because he likes it. Because the King of the universe, who stepped into history at the worst time of history to rescue you from your sins, likes it. And because it's good for you. It's good for me. So with your heads bowed and your eyes closed, I'm going to ask Jamie to come up. I don't know what goes on in your heart and mind this time of year. If you're like most people, those things affect you. You feel stressed. You might feel disconnected. You might feel lonely, like you're by yourself. You might feel sad or tired or heavy, like right now where you are. The God of the universe wants to hear from you. Like I wonder if you could give yourself a gift during this Christmas season, and that's just to pray a little bit more. And you say, that seems like not the most exciting gift I've ever heard, Brian. It's one that you'll receive. I promise it'll make a shift this Christmas. And it might be unexpected. It might be unusual. But it might be exactly what you want for Christmas. And so maybe even just where you are, you can start a dialogue with God. Whatever that sounds like in your head, in your heart. I always want to encourage us to commit to following Jesus. And this time of year, man, there's so many distractions. And it's easy to say, yeah, I follow Christ, but to not follow so closely, because all those distractions is everything that the season seems to want to be about. Maybe make a commitment to follow a little closer. I don't want to miss out on praying this Christmas, because God likes it, because it's good for me. Commit to being changed by Jesus. So what does that look like? It looks like letting go of control. That is hard for me, especially this time of year. I want to make everyone happy. I want to make sure everybody's good. Everybody's having a good time. Everybody feels peace and hope. And I'll miss out on it. And let go. Ask Jesus to start to change that in you. Change seeing, hey, He's the one that gives you peace. He's the one who gives you hope. Not your performance this Christmas season. It's Him. And last, make a commitment to the mission of Jesus. One of the coolest things about this story is you see the stars speaking, the stars declaring from heaven that Jesus is God, that He is active and at work in the universe and active and at work in your life. And maybe a commitment to Jesus. If the stars are speaking, maybe your life will too. A commitment to the mission of Jesus is allowing life to speak. Maybe even, dare I say, your words to speak. Life, peace, hope to the people around you. Lord, we love you. We are grateful for your goodness to us. Jesus, that you declare in the heavens your goodness, your glory. But you didn't stop there with the heavens. You stepped into earth. You lived a life I could never live. You died on a cross to erase my sin and rose from the grave to bring me into your family. God, help me to enjoy that, to see it, to enjoy it, to believe it, to have hope in it, and to share that hope, to be generous with that hope with the people in my life. It begins with worshiping you as King and as God. We love you. We worship you. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. You guys stand and worship with me.